And it's probably actually just better to have it in 2 lines. Because that's really long. That's really long. Where exactly am I gonna avoid all that? I don't know. Well, what I do know is that I'm going to do that, that, that. That. Pipe logistic time! That, 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 and that. Will feed the stuff. Then I need all of the water connected somewhere. With a water supply. There's the water. That consumes not a ton of water. And then it's all of the tailings needs to be connected. Don't you just love the new artwork stuff for the multi-purpose pipes? Don't the multi-purpose pipes just look lovely? Don't they look amazing? All the box junctions everywhere, all the boxes with red arrows, just yeah. Yeah, they look great, don't they? Hmm. Well, the at least the power pole spacing is perfect. Power pole spacing is absolutely perfect. Oh. I am running out of pipe to ground. Okay, we are here. 15. 15 of this building. I think maybe that recipe speed needs adjustment. I think this particular step to make Pulp 2, Casein Pulp 2, might be a little too slow. If it takes 15 of a building that size, that's larger than the Korlex. That's more space than the Korlex itself on this Korlex recipe 4B. This also needs water in. Let's have space sufficient to do the water this time. So how in the world am I going to scale 15 of this? There's 5. We are as tall, I think, for probably one whole tile bigger. Yeah, we are one tile taller then the Korlex line. Assuming that it is properly aligned. So no, it would be precisely the same if I wasn't a dummy and actually had this properly aligned. With the buildings. There we go. That is the alignment now. So we are exactly as tall as the Korlex. That means that these buildings must be the exact same size. Yes. Yes, these buildings are the exact same footprint. And we need 3 times as many of these as we do of these. That's a little ridiculous. Just a tad. But this time I'm just gonna do this to make a point. I'm just gonna make a point here. There's our line of 15. There is our line of 15 of the entirety of the build so far. That specific step might need to be adjusted. We're almost done, by the way. There's only one more step. There is but one more step? Once everything has power, and everything is moving and processing these beautiful pans. And yes, I could do Mark II stuff and it would cut the building counts roughly in half. Mostly. But I'm not... But even then, the Korlex isn't Mark II. If the Korlex was Mark II, I would need even fewer of those buildings. Anyway, evaporators. It is time to evaporate. I did not bring evaporators. There they are. There they are. A significantly smaller building. Casein. These are much, much better on their input-output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Non-zero casein. Hey, there it is. We've got the stuffs. We've got our beautiful, beautiful milk protein. That is what that is. But by the way, this is like a protein. Yay, we did the thing. Our casein is done. It's beautiful and glorious, and now I have work to do on the train station. Now we need to run this belt. Excuse me, rock, you are in my way. Come on, casein. Alright, which station was this? Casein station. Right here. And there we go. Casein. So remember what I said about the milk. The milk station needs to be stuffs. How am I going to do this? I could use smaller tanks. If I use tanks at all. Do I foresee ever needing the throughput? Like, do I think I will ever need a tank to pump to tank throughput? Like, will I make use of that throughput ever? Chances are no. I'm never going to need greater than 1,200 units of fluid per second of milk. So the actual solution would be to just have the tank out here and have the thingies wherever. It doesn't really matter, actually. The precise spacing. Give me more. And just have that out there with stuff. With a pump out, a pump in, and just power. I need a regular fluid wagon, preferably. Yep, regular fluid wagons. Regular cargo wagons is fine on the Casein as well. They're definitely going to be limited on the spacing, maybe even just to the one, I don't know. Casein stopped moving for some reason, I don't know exactly why. Guess I'll find out as I head back with pipe. It's like, wasn't the point to not have so much on the width here? Oh well. Okay. This is gonna have a overflow valve. And there's the milk. There's the overflow on the milk going into stuffs. Now, why is this not... Oh, that's why. Ah, da 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 da. Yeah. Like, huh? What even is going on here? That needs to be... What? What? Ah! Yeah, that... See? See? That's what happens because these look identical to each other. Like, that is what happens when your junction of regular pipe is nearly identical to the sprite of your undergrounds. Oh boy. You end up losing potentially putting undergrounds in your junction spot, and because they sit there, it's like, how is that any different than that? Outside of you have to notice that you don't have the icon. And if you're not in alt mode, well, good luck. Anyhoozle. There's the casein flowing again. It flows! Now, again, we did this entire build. Look how long this build is. Like, oh my god. Theoretically, I can scale this however much. Like, I can just go up or whatever. It can be scaled. That's the idea. It can be scaled as built like this. Just double everything, quintuple everything on the line, and when you start running out of like having throughput limitations, then take the whole dang thing and paste it somewhere else. So it can scale as is, just each individual unit going up, and then it can scale as a whole unit getting pasted elsewhere. Alright, that is covered now. So, you are... did I call these Korlex casein? I did. Good. So I could just go down to K. So it's Korlex casein station to casein depot. Once you are full and circuit condition, you can go ahead and do your thing. This one goes to the Korlex milk station to the milk depot once you are, of course, full. And then circuit condition. Do I want it to be full before going out? Probably not. Probably not. That doesn't seem like it would happen exactly. So maybe when fluid count on Korlex milk is greater than... What do we want the ratio to be? These are 25k each, 50k total in the tanks, 10k. Heck, maybe even just 5k. We can say you're good if you have more than 5k. Or equal to. And that should automatically have enough now, I think. That should have more than 5k in it. Yeah, it's got more than 5k in it. That just leaves one final thing, which is to define casein. Surprised I actually found that. Korlex casein, as well as the fluid Korlex milk. And that is Train Supply Manager all set up. We are now officially done. It is official. We have finished the Korlex build. Yay! Korlex has been completed. We have our Korlex now. I don't have a Korlex build to actually make more modules of Korlex, but hey. Process. It's all a process. We'll get there eventually, right? Yeah. So yeah. General thought, this casein pulp 2, the recipe needs to move faster. That's the main thing. This recipe needs to be faster at least 3 times. I shouldn't need to have more than 5 centrifugal pans here. So just divide whatever number it is by 3-ish. That should be fine. That will work. Alright. next build. So, what were we doing making all that casein? All of that casein. Well, that whole amount of casein, all of it, is going into a raw fiber build. It's going into this build, which I don't even have enough sugar for this build. So let's just ignore the fact that I don't even have enough sugar to get the full 20 out of this build, but we'll build it as if I had the full 2.5 sugar. Sure, why not? We have one whole sugar per second. That's what I've gotten right now. So this next set of stuff just needs to exist somewhere. And I need the Kickalk build as part of this. So the Kickalk, whatever I decide for this, that recipe is fine. With, of course, the cycling. Yeah, that's a few more modules that I need to actually complete this build. With the Kickalk. That's a few more modules than I need if I want to use this recipe. Here's the thing about this part of the build. This part of the build should actually be a better Kickalk recipe. I would imagine that I would probably want to have a better Kickalk recipe. Is it actually going to be worth adding 120 CO2 to get a +1 Kickalk? I think the answer is yes, just because we're already using biomass, and we can convert biomass directly into CO2, and it's a pretty good ratio, so effectively it's just a little bit more biomass to get an extra 1 Kickalk, and biomass is pretty simple to make. So yeah, that +1 is very much worth doing. That's a no-brainer if it's CO2. Yeah, that's pretty much a no-brainer as CO2. Right there. That's the one, and that's what we're working on right now. That's the tech that we are currently working on is going to give us this recipe. So, what a difference. By the way, what a difference. 3 buildings. So the difference, we go from this recipe, which is 19 buildings at 50 Kickalk, each building 50 modules, down to 3 by doing this. Yes, we do need stuffs. We don't even need biomass in the end, just because this will actually give us an excess amount of biomass. I just need a little bit to get it started. So I just need to bring a little bit of biomass with me to start this process, because that much CO2 out of biomass, yeah, that's fine. That is so fine. I will import the manure by train. We know how easy it is to get the ash. I will bring in the lamps by train, and I can make the sand locally. So, voila, there it is. We will have to have a train for sodium hydroxide. What's this train station going to look like? By the way, I should probably take notes here. So this train station is going to be sugar in sulfuric acid in ooh, that formaldehyde. Right. About that formaldehyde. That is one thing I think that should be added to gas bladders, but gas bladders give methane. That much is certain, but just like with helium and rich gas as 2 separate things that the gas bladders can give you, why can't we get something similar with methane formaldehyde? Like I would like that option, but otherwise for now it's just going to be Tholins. Like it's just going to be Tholins. I'm working on the Mark IIs. I'm building the Mark II buildings on the Tholins, so that's how that's going to work there for the formaldehyde. Have that casein solution. Yeah, it needs the sodium hydroxide. I need Tufra. So sugar, I don't need to look at. Wait, no, I don't need the Tufra. What am I thinking? I don't need anything that makes the sugar here. So I do need the biomass. Oh, okay, fine, whatever. Whatevs. Sugar in, sulfuric acid in, casein in. I don't need any of the stuff that makes the casein listed here. Sodium hydroxide, lamps, manure, and that's it. Sugar, sulfuric acid, casein, sodium hydroxide, lamps, and manure. And everything else is local. Well, I think I have a plan. I think that is a plan. So I need to go and grab all of the buildings that I need for this. And then lots more rail to do this station. This is going to be a 6 input, 1 output train station. 6 input, 1 output. Now, Kickalk. There is a thing that I was going to look at. I was going to try to see, like, what else Kickalk itself is absolutely required for outside of raw fiber. Because, yeah, sure, it's required for raw fiber, but what else is the absolute requirement? I mean, yeah, some zinc-enriched biomass and chelators, but why? That's going to be like a completely separate thing, and I would make stuff very dedicated for that. What about the seeds? Besides making more Kickalk and Korlex, outside of the Korlex food, which is not even used for the advanced Korlex food. Wow. All right. And like the replicator recipe, yeah, sure, that's utility science. That's a really long ways away. Yeah, I don't see a need. It's so energy intensive, it's better to do fiber from wood. Well, wood also has its own set of complexities. Like how are you getting your wood? So the whole build here, let's actually have a look. So this part of the build is 34.4 megawatts. The other part of the build was casein. That's 20.8. So 55.2? 55.2 megawatts for 20 raw fiber. Let's compare that to raw fiber made out of wood. You get 2 whole raw fiber per unit wood. So the actual process here, to start off, very first step, is already consuming 15.5 megawatts. Well, okay. How are we getting our wood? Well, our wood has to come from logs, and that in and of itself requires a certain amount of power just to convert logs into wood. Well, how are we going to get our logs? Well, one of the best options is to use tailings and CO2, but that in and of itself is probably going to end up consuming a lot more power, considering you will get your tailings out of sand and pure sand. So you have to think about, well, if you're going to be doing it through this route, you're going to have to make some glorious biomass. The particular biomass recipe is made out of creamy latex. That's one of the best options for you. That's going to require some stuff. That's going to require that stuff, as well as that stuff. The tailings, of course, it mixed between the pure sand, just between the two of them. The thingy here does not, Helmod does not handle it very well between the two of them. So, stuff, things, it really hates the thing. Why does it even think it needs that much? What is it trying to give me? Oh, it's trying to give it's trying to give me the 1429 all out of pure sand rather than do combined. Here, matrix solve. There you go. Matrix solved. So then what did you miss? We finished the build. We finished the build. Someone has now asked about it. They say that Kickalk is so energy intensive. It's much cheaper to create raw fiber from wood, isn't it? So we had a question about, is creating wood-based raw fiber cheaper for energy-wise than doing Kickalk-based raw fiber? So I've been breaking down the wood-based raw fiber here. And let's also bear in mind that, yes, we need that, and we need moss. So then we need coarse fraction, however we want to make coarse fraction with the extra limestone and the extra CO2. So, just basic breakdown here of what you would need to do wood-based raw fiber. And the answer is this uses 91.7 megawatts to do it this way of power. 91.7 megawatts. It give or take, and of course it depends on what recipes you're ultimately using to get the logs in the first place. This is one of the best output of log recipes to give you the fewest amount of fastwood forestries. Just so we're aware, this is the fewest fastwoods process, although it does take tailings. How does it compare? So 91.7, just keep that in mind. Forgot to break the soil too, yeah. So it's even more because we need soil on top of that. So greater than 91.7 compared to like the basic water, just the basic water with 300 factories needing that out of whatever, out of that, break the limestone down, break CO2 down, which also needs to break the biomass down with the latex stuff out of that should already be there. And yeah, just depending on how you get your iron, 125. So it's higher than the even more complex process. So compare that to the other process, which is the Casein build, that I just finished, which, granted, ignores the fish. It ignores the fish is a lot of power. the fish is a lot of power, but it's only 0.35, so it's not too much difference in the end. 20.8 plus the 34.4, we're at 55.2 megawatts for 20 out. So, I don't know. I think I'll take half the power by doing this, which again, this also sort of it does ignore the sugar build as well, but still, I still think that this wins out in the end. I still think that this wins out in the end. Quite possibly, this wins out in the end in terms of power draw. But I still like this output just because we only need 3 kickout plantations. I have a sugar in a tab, yes. If I do 2.5, the thing about the sugar tab though is the sugar is also with a 15 tufra. So if we actually just look at the sugar and do like 2.5, the sugar itself, you have to add the tufra then. That's 19.3. Add the 5 per second tufra. I guess here we can be like, hey, give me 5 per second. 27.8, 19.3. That might actually be more expensive.